This time on Kitty Litter Garage, we remove the bolts from the Lincoln. Well, it looks like the AC evacuation process was a bust, which is good and bad. Bad because I hooked everything up and I bought all the equipment. As you can see in the clips, I had the gauges, the tank, the vacuum pump, the recovery pump, everything I need to safely and environmentally empty the AC. I was able to draw a vacuum, I was able to do the entire procedure, but never once when I plugged in the gauges did I ever see any pressure from the car side. So after running all the pumps for about an hour and a half, getting that all taken care of, the tank, or the bottle, was still empty. There was nothing in it. And that's by weight. So I dug out my old Amazon refill thing. I plugged it into the low side. Nothing came out of it. I went to the back where the AC unit is in the trunk of this. Undid the high side. Nothing. There's nothing in there. So the bad thing is it leaked somewhere. The good thing, I'm done. I don't need to evacuate the AC. So we get to move on to body removal. Ever since I got the carpet out of this, I've gone over the body to find all the mount locations. The book can only help me so much because I'm not taking the entire body off. If you recall, I'm only taking off from about this point back. Initially, I'm keeping this because one of the body mounts for it is right here. But that's roughly the same distance from the firewall to the cab on the F100. The other mounts I'm going to remove, we've got one down here. There's one on the other side under that bundle of wire. And if we go in the back, we got two. We got one right here and one directly opposite right there. While 4 bolts doesn't really sound like much of an endeavor, Ford used threaded washers the size of the insulators to hold the body to the frame. And you just can't get anything big enough around those washers that will hold the amount of torque required to run those bolts out of those nuts. So, probably going to be cutting those off. We'll give it a try, but everyone on the forums seem to say, you're cutting them. Once I get the rear of the body disconnected from the frame, the first place I'm going to make a cut is right along here behind the front doors. And then in a similar location, right along the floor behind this middle body bolt. I'm leaving those until we can determine where the cab is going to land. Once that's all apart, then I'll be taking measurements off the cab and measurements off the remaining body and seeing where I need to cut this and cut the cab to make it just slip right over. Based on initial measurements, they should fit right in between the A-pillars on the cab of the F100, allowing me to retain all the door hinge assembly. If that is the case, that's going to make this a little bit easier. Of course, I'm going to have to cut the windshield out and see how much I can retain that VIN plate there, just to be safe. But there is one thing tying this all together, and it is that running board. Sorry guys, I had to turn off the camera. There's a huge rainstorm coming outside, and can hardly hear myself think in this place. So I'm going to put everything down for a minute and wait for this storm to pass. Now the running board has 6 little bolts that hold this cover on, and then another 4 bolts that hold the framework to the chassis. Before I can cut the floor, that needs to come out. So, looking at the order of things, that is the next step. Stop. Nope. Oh, that's why. That was even easier than I was expecting. Not only did they get the number of bolts wrong, they also got 6 of the locations wrong. So, there were 4 on the brackets that mount to the frame and 6 on the brackets that mount to the body. No cover or anything like that. It came right down. I'm gonna go to the other side, but I'm sure you don't want to watch that. I said I would try, but putting my impact on the bolt here and the big pipe wrench below, it just jerks it out. There's no way I'm going to get that undone. And according to the manual, they're one-time use anyway, so if I cut them, I cut them. So, I'm going to bring out the big guns. One down. So it looks like we're cutting more than just the bolt. We got a outer housing. That all sits into. I'm not too worried about the body, which this seems to cut off from. I'll continue to do this. That didn't take too long. Same thing. Cool. Easy as pie. Woo! Well, let me show you what happened with the other 2 bolts. But they're out. There just isn't any room in here. I couldn't get a saw in here. And you look under here, and there's no room for a saw there either. So, I thought, well, maybe I'll drill these out. No, they're 10.9 bolts. I'd probably go through every drill bit I own before I drilled that thing out. So, what I did, as you can see right next to that hole down there, is a little smaller hole. I think I'm gonna move that around there. I drilled down all the way through until I got through the big nut washer on the bottom. Then I stuck a bolt through there. I had a grade 5 bolt that was long enough and skinny enough to get down that hole, and zip zip came right out. So, solved that problem. All 4 are now out. This is becoming fun, isn't it? All right, everybody, I think that's going to do it for this one. We've made some really good progress on the Lincoln today, and honestly, this is the kind of stuff I enjoy the most. Getting out in the garage, tearing into a project, making an incredible mess, and figuring out things as we go. It's always fun seeing these projects start to change shape too. What started as a big unknown sitting in my garage is finally starting to feel like an actual build again. The more parts that come off this thing, the more the plans start coming together, and the more excited I get to see where this thing's going to end up. There's just something satisfying about taking apart an old car, uncovering all the little details, the surprises, and the weird engineering decisions that came along the way. This is why I love the car hobby so much. Every project has a story, every car its own personality. Some of you fight with a little harder than others, but in the end of the day, it's part of the adventure. Plus, admit it, guys, there's nothing better than spending time out in the garage, turning wrenches, listening to music, and building something fun. The really exciting part is we're getting close to a major milestone on this project, because next time we're going to start cutting into the body, and we're going to attempt to lift the body off the frame. That's gonna completely change the direction of this build and finally let us see what's hiding underneath all this. I've been looking forward to this part for quite a while now, because once the body is off, we can really start planning on how it's gonna come back together. And let's be honest, anytime you're lifting a car body off the frame in a home shop, there's probably going to be a little bit of excitement, maybe a little chaos as well. And there's a very good chance the next episode gets interesting. So if you enjoyed hanging out in the garage with me today, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you already haven't, and leave me a comment below. I always enjoy hearing what you guys think of the project, and I love hearing about your own builds too, whether you're working on a full restoration, a race car, or just trying to keep your daily driver alive. We're all in the same boat here. And if you know somebody who's into old cars, fabrication, project cars, or just enjoys watching questionable decisions happen in a garage, share the channel with them too. We've got a lot more coming on this build, and I think the next few videos are going to be a lot of fun. So thank you again for watching, for supporting this channel, and for coming along with me on this project. I really do appreciate every single one of you. Until next time, take care of yourselves, have fun in your garage, and keep those old rides alive. I'm Marty, and this is Kitty Litter Garage. Let's build something awesome.